my 2023 goal is to graduate. This helped me get there. This is a story about unyielding determination, paying back your debt to society. This is Chris Wilson's story. In 1996, Chris was a 17-year-old black kid growing up in some of the parts of D.C. One night, two guys trailed him to a convenience store. He got into an altercation there, and he pulled the span. He shot 6 shots, and he took a life. It was his son Dorico's first birthday, and he would never see his son grow up. Chris grew up in what many of us would think of as a combat zone. Going between Baltimore and D.C., he had places where he'd have to sleep on the floor at night or in a bathtub to avoid stray bullets coming into the house. He dealt with his mother's drug addiction growing up, and he saw nothing but abuse, poverty, and crime. He watched his mother get beat up by boyfriends and sexually assaulted. And at 17 years old, with a thin line of a mustache on his face, weighing about 120 pounds, he entered Patuxent Maximum Security Prison to serve a life sentence. His first year in incarceration was rough on him. He fell into a deep depression, and he started to come to terms with the reality that he would spend a life behind bars. He was lucky, though. In that first year, he had mentors, which challenged him to focus on his education and to set goals, and he did that. In the end of his first year, he spent 3 days inside of his cell. He didn't come for what he thought of was the man that he wanted to become and how he came out with a master plan. And it's a little hard to see, but on this plan, he had on there. Like one day he wanted to get released from prison. He wanted to start his own company. More materialistic, like he wanted to drive his dream car, a black convertible Corvette today. Chris got to work, and in those next years, he taught himself how to speak Spanish and Italian fluently. He began to pick up Mandarin. He earned his GED and then an associate's degree. He also started woodworking. He became an apprentice and then a craftsman. But Chris wanted more than that. He wanted to actually while he was on the inside. So he did that. He changed the prison's career center into a master plan workshop where he taught kids to set goals the same way that he changed their lives. And over those next years, he changed hundreds of people's lives. As they got to prison, they started a new future. And each year, Chris would write down his master plans, show the goals that he had achieved, and he would send it into the court system. He did that for 10 years. And at the end of 10 years, he got his one shot at a sentence modification hearing. He went before the judge and he spoke for 5 minutes. He talked about how he had changed his life, how he had dedicated it to that he would do if he ever got released. The judge listened to him. She looked at his master plans and she read the volumes of references that came in about him. And she reduced his prison term from a life sentence to 2 years. It still took Chris 6 years to get out of prison. And in those 6 years, he got rejected for parole 5 times. Administrative grounds, administration to keep him inside. He lost his mom to suicide. He fell into depression, and a caseworker sent him to some of the most deplorable conditions you could imagine. But in 2012, Chris was released, and with $50 to his name and a couple of changes of clothes, he started a new life. No one even picked him up from prison. He started couches. He mowed lawns for $20 a piece. He started a resume writing business using the skills he had learned. And then he joined a nonprofit, doing social outreach into the same communities that he had grown up in. He got a job making $42,000 a year for this nonprofit. Within 6 months of him getting out and getting that job, he had become a program director at the nonprofit. He started speaking and sharing his story with other people. And business school at Baltimore University, where he convinced her to give him a full-ride scholarship. He got his business degree, and he started his dream building his own companies. First company, furniture restoration company. The next one was a commercial and residential contracting company. He even got a contract with Zipcar, parking in the winter for them. In 20-hour days, day after day, grinding away, he was able in the first 18 months to employ over 50 other people, many of those people with criminal backgrounds. He was making $20,000 a month. He was speaking. He became a published author. Let's move the slide. That's why you guys are looking at me. He became a published author, and he was an entrepreneur. And Chris, and he had started multiple companies. He started nonprofits. He started art gallery with awareness of social change issues. And the big thing in 2016, he was invited to the White House to receive the President's Award for volunteer service. Accomplishment. Today, Chris is still doing this. He's still creating jobs for hundreds of people, and his life is to change poverty, bring prosperity to people, businesses, and the companies that he creates. This is Chris Wilson. Thank you.